Hi guys, welcome to It's Possible, where everything is possible. I'm Opal, and today we're going to talk about building your dream house and how you make it possible. How do you bring this particular goal and manifestation into fruition? So this is going to be a series. I'm going to be sending out several videos along this topic, and today's video I really want to focus on how I knew that home ownership would have been possible for myself from very early. So how did I know that home ownership would have been feasible for me growing up? So first 12 years of my life I lived in downtown Kingston with my grandaunt in a tenement yard. So back then, for me, it was the norm that we rented this space, and that was life. Now, when I was about to start high school, I believe, there was the opening of sale for houses for Greater Portmore, and what I can vividly remember was, as a child watching the news, I saw a lot of persons lined up overnight at the National Arena, and what was happening was that the houses in Greater Portmore, specifically the quads, were being sold. And at that time I remember watching the news with my grandaunt. She's seeing, the persons down by the arena all lined up trying to really get a home. And I remember the next day she decided that she's gonna go there, she's gonna sleep overnight and try to get her name on the list to pick a house, basically. And so that the next night I slept in the house by myself. My grandaunt packed up, brought something to sleep with, pillow and blanket and whatnot, and went with her food and stayed there overnight. Suffice to say, she was able to get on the list. Now, from that day on, she would have bought one of those quads, at the time, 1-bedroom home in Portmore, and that was my first exposure to anyone that I knew, my immediate surroundings, owning a home. And so even though she was a vendor, she wasn't making a lot of money, she wasn't the type of higgler type that would travel overseas, buy a large quantity of goods and come back to Jamaica and sell. No, she didn't have that level of income or earning power. So one day, how she earned her money was to go to Mr. Chin wholesale, buy from Mr. Chin, mark up the prices, and then resell. And so just to give you context in terms of the type of income she was bringing in, so we're like low income earners really. So when she bought the house in Portmore, it took us probably, I believe, 2 years after before we actually moved out of the rented house from downtown to the actual house in Portmore. Now, when we moved to that house was a 2-bedroom home. So I moved from not having my own room to now having my own room, in the new home, having a full out living, dining, everything. And even though I didn't realize that that was connecting and teaching me a lesson then, I recognize now as an adult that that was my first example of home ownership, and that set me on a path to owning my own home early enough. So I bought my first house at the age of 24, and that was made possible because I saw a great example, you know, someone who wasn't making a lot of money, knew how to save, knew how to, you know, take her on and make fashion, and really every little make a muckle and put it together, bought the house, and she added on to the house out of her own pocket. So that was my first exposure to that. I say that to say, if you are on the journey or are interested in ultimately owning your own home, it is possible. From that little stall that my grandaunt had to owning a 2-bedroom house that she was able to extend out of her own pocket, you can do it. So I'm going to leave you with this important tip. Typically, people see home ownership as a place of shelter for themselves and family. And while that is true, home ownership is so much more than that. I'm here to tell you that home ownership is a wealth creation tool. It contributes to your net worth, and it plays a major role in your asset building. I'm going to do a video on this where you can truly understand and appreciate the role that owning a home plays in you actually starting your journey in building generation wealth. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video where we'll talk about all the other possibilities that are there just waiting for us to be had.